Hello, my name is Michael Harlow, and I am the race director for the East Coast Triathlon Festival, which includes the youth, junior, and national development races. This presentation will go over important information on the course so that you are fully prepared for race day. We are very excited to have you join us in Richmond and believe that you guys are going to have an amazing race experience. Before I get started, I do want to give recognition to the several sponsors who are making this race possible. You can see all these sponsors on this slide. If you are aware of these sponsors or have any opportunity to do business with these sponsors, we highly recommend it. These sponsors believe in fitness. They believe in triathlon and the impact of fitness in people's lives. And so I would encourage you to seek out these different businesses and do business when appropriate with them. I also want to just take a quick moment to go over the Live Red Foundation and what we do in the community. The Live Red Foundation is the owner and producer of this event. We at the Live Red Foundation put on free fitness programs that teach life skills to children in Richmond's lowest opportunity neighborhoods. These are some of the toughest neighborhoods in the country. And the programs that we provide these kids are really life-changing. They're super important to these kids. And all of our events, we put on about 15 different events during the course of the year. And all of the revenue from these events goes to producing these free fitness programs in our community. Without these events, these fitness programs would not be possible. And so I just want to thank you guys for participating in this event because due to your participation, you are really helping to impact many, many lives beyond just the ones that are racing that weekend. Let's talk a little bit about parking. So the parking situation will be the exact same as it was last year. You will see that the main event staging area will take place in this red circle. There's no parking in that section during the race. We also, this road, Highwoods Parkway, along the purple line, is going to be closed, and we're not allowing any cars to come in there this year. So there will be no parking along that purple section, Highwoods Parkway. So the best places to park are either in the green areas or the blue area, which is the hotel area. The blue area is the hotel area. That's the ideal section. You can just ride your bike in or walk in the morning of the event. It is less than a mile to get to the race venue from that main hotel area. I will also just point out real quickly, the yellow circle is the parking lot right next to the main staging area, and you can park there, but you have to be in before 7 a.m. and you won't be able to leave until probably about 5:30 p.m. So if you're going to be there all day, that's a fine area to park in. But if you're planning to leave in the middle of the day, you do not want to park there because you will be blocked in. Next few slides are going to go over the schedule and just give some clarity. Here's the full race schedule for Sunday, April 30th. The schedule for Saturday, April 29th, can be found on the website just in terms of packet pickup and different things like that. But this is for the race day schedule. So you'll see that we will kick off with the junior development races at 7 and 8:30. Then we'll go into the youth development races at 10 and 11. Then we'll have at noon an age group 5 to 10-year-old triathlon and duathlon. Those events will be going off at the same time. 1 o'clock, the age group 11 to 17 triathlon and duathlon, followed by the adult age group triathlon and duathlon at 2 o'clock p.m. In addition to that, we are going to close out the day with the National Development Cup female race at 3 and the National Development Cup male race at 4:30. Now you'll also want to pay attention to the race-specific schedule. This will lay out when your transition opens, when the swim course opens, when transition closes, when we stage, and then the race start. You'll see there's a general flow with the youth and junior races. Transition is going to open up 75 minutes before your race start. Then the swim course is going to open up 45 minutes before your race start. Transition is going to close 15 minutes before your race start. We're going to stage you. We need everyone with their chips in their cap at the race start 10 minutes before the start. And then we are going to start on time. And then immediately after your race, you will finish, and we'll take the top 3 and we will take them immediately over to awards, and we'll have awards shortly after everyone finishes, or maybe even before everyone finishes. Most likely everyone will be finished by that point. It is also important to know that the wheel pit wheels will be accepted at transition when transition is open, not before. And that you will want to remove your bikes immediately following your race, because we have another race that's going to come in right after your race, and so we need to get all your bikes out and those allow those other people to set up. If you are doing the national development race, your timeline is going to be a little bit tighter. You will not be allowed into transition until an hour before your race start, but everything else is the same. Swim course is going to open 45 minutes before. Transition will close 15 minutes before. You're going to stage 10 minutes before, and then your race will get started on time. And again, awards will be right after, and the whole deal with the wheel pit is exactly the same. All right, so a few things of pre-race as we go over schedule. There are several options with warm-up. We already talked about the swim warm-up. The bike warm-up, you can go out on the race course as long as there is not a live race going on the course. So feel free to use the race course. But there's several roads, neighborhoods around other kind of office-y areas around that are outside the race course. So even if a race is going on, you can kind of go on the outside of the race course and find plenty of options for warming up. And then obviously it is also an option to use a trainer. You're welcome to bring that in and set that up and be able to use that as well. Same thing with the run, many options kind of around the venue that you can use for warm up. That should not be a problem for the run. When you are ready to check in, you're going to do this outside each transition area. You're going to want to bring your bike, your helmet, and have your helmet on your head with the race number. You're going to want to have your uniform on your body and your tattoos in place, both on your arms and your legs. The rules briefing will go over exactly where those tattoos go. Officials will be conducting a thorough check of all equipment. So you'll want to make sure that you have followed all the equipment rules and are ready for that check-in. Again, those rules will be gone over through the rules briefing. For staging, you're going to receive your swim cap and timing chips. Down by the swim start, there will be a tent down there, and you can receive that anytime during the swim warm-up. And then we'll line you up based on numerical order 10 minutes before the start, and then call you out to your race start from there. All right, let's go a little bit over the course. So transition, before you start that, you're going to rack your gear at the transition area that is marked by the last 2 digits of your race number. So for example, if you are number 220, you're going to find 20 and you're going to rack your bike at that 20. Because we have multiple races, there will be multiple people, the 220, 320, 420, 520 that will rack at that 20 spot. You will want to rack your bike by the seat nose pointing toward the flow of traffic, so pointing towards the center of transition. You want to have your gear on your bike, behind the front wheel of the bike, or in the transition bend. And no race bibs will be used in these races. And once racked in transitions, bikes cannot be removed until the competition begins. That means that you will want to do your warm-up before you rack your bike or check in to transition. All right, with transition 1, this is a 485-foot run from swim exit to transition. So from the edge of the water up to the entrance to transition, 485 feet. When you get into transition, all your used swim equipment must go in the transition bend. It must go in the transition bend. Your transition bend will be marked with those same last 2 digits of your race number. So again, if you are 220, you're going to look for the transition bend is labeled 20. For transition 2, you're going to rack the bike by the seat or both handlebars. It's your choice, but it should be racked facing away from the flow of traffic, so away from the center of transition. And all used bike equipment, once again, needs to be placed in transition bend. So this is, for example, your helmet needs to be put in that transition bend before you leave transition. Here's a look at transition and what it looks like. So down here, swim, you're going to come out right down here. You've got that 485-foot run up to the entrance of transition, which is right here. You'll see there are 2 transitions. There's transition A and transition B. Only one of them will be open. Only your transition will be open when you get up here, so you don't have to figure out, do I go left or do I go right? You will only be able to go into one. In the other one, someone will be setting up most likely for the next race. And you'll flow up here and out onto the bike course. You will come back from the bike right here, back into transition. You'll flow into that same transition area and leave out on your run through that same way. We got a couple more views of this coming up here. You'll see this is another look at it with a more real GPS look. So you'll see how it's set up. Your entrance to check in will be on the side. So you see this is open here. That is the entrance to check in for this transition area. And this is the entrance to check in for this transition area. You'll notice that this transition area is closed at the time. You'll see this green right here. These will be barricades preventing you from going in if this is the live course. There will likely again be people setting up for the next race here. Let's go ahead and jump over to the next one. Here you'll see a flow. So with transition A, which is the one over here on the left, you'll enter here to get set up. And then when that one's open, you'll be coming through and flowing through. This one will be completely closed. And when transition B is open, it'll look just like this. All right, let's talk a little bit about the swim course. We have an in-water start with buoys on the right. Every single one of the courses is 1 lap. Athletes, you will have you stand behind your spot at the water's edge. Then we will ask you to get in the water. There's a nice little shelf there. It's about 4 feet deep where you'll be standing on. You'll put one hand on kind of the wood that's kind of holding up the edge of the lake. You'll put one hand on that. And then you will wait for the starter's commands. The starter will ask the athletes to ask you to get into the water, as I just explained.
He will then say that you are now in the hands of the starter. You will hear on your mark, and then the air horn will start the race. Now, we expect the water temperature to be in the upper 60s. Some years has been in the low 70s, but we are kind of trending towards those upper 60s right now. That'll likely be right on the edge of wetsuit legal for these development races, which is 68 degrees. So you will want to make sure you bring your wetsuit so you are prepared if it is indeed a wetsuit swim.
Here's a look at the swim courses for all the various races that we have throughout the day. Now, you will see these yellow buoys on the map. There will actually only be one yellow buoy on the course for each race. This is the turn buoy for that specific race. All the other buoys will be orange. So for the youth development race, you'll see the one right behind the second fountain, which is right before the bridge. It will be yellow, and all the others will be orange. That's where the youth will turn. That is the yellow course, as you can see. And then for the NTDR and the junior development races, this last buoy on the course, or the red loop, will be yellow, just that last buoy on the course. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense, and you understand how you're going to navigate this course.
All right, now it's important to note that there's no running during the swim. There is one little section, and I'll show it to you in just a second, where the lake can be a little shallow, and athletes can possibly stand up and make forward progress by running, but this is not legal. Any athletes that do this will be disqualified, and there will be officials stationed at the bridge that will be looking for this and writing down numbers. So please make sure you do not run during the swim. You'll see this section is right in here. This is a bridge coming over top of it, and if you kind of took it hard to the left, you might be able to stand there, but you cannot. It is illegal. You will not be able to do that. So please don't do it, or you will be disqualified. Now again, this is only the case with the juniors. The youth in the national development race will turn right here, so you won't have to worry about this.
Let's move on to the bike course. The bike course will flow in a clockwise direction, and there will be one 180-degree turn on the course. Now, as athletes come around for their numerous laps, they will not turn and go through transition on each bike lap. Instead, you will stay on Highwoods Parkway until you've completed all of your loops, and then you will make the right-hand turn to go into transition. There will be a wheel pit that will be located on Highwoods Parkway right after you turn onto this road out of transition, and you will pass this on each of your laps. The lap out rule, or the overlap rule, is in effect, meaning that if the first rider catches the last rider, that last rider will be pulled off of the course for all development races. Juniors and NTDR athletes will make 4 laps. Youth will make 2 laps. And there are a couple speed bumps at the end of the bike course that you will want to be aware of. You can ride right over them, but you do want to be aware of them so that you can just know that they're coming up. Here's what the bike course map looks like. Now, I know that you can't see my pointer, so I'll kind of talk you through this. As you exit transition, you're going to be making a right-hand turn on Highwoods Parkway. You're going to go up to a right-hand turn on Sadler Place, which is going to take you to a fairly decent downhill, taking you to a right-hand turn onto Cox Road. That is typically the kind of the hairiest corner on the course, just because you have a lot of speed coming into it. So just be careful as you make that right-hand turn and make sure you're safe. This section along Cox Road, which is this kind of longest section, is a slight uphill. Some years we can have some wind at your face. Sometimes we'll have wind at your back, but it's a slight uphill, taking you all the way up to Inns Lake Drive, where you'll make a right-hand turn and then another right-hand turn onto Dominion Boulevard. This back section is fairly flowy and frequently pretty fast with the wind direction. You will come down to Waterfront Place, which you'll do a short out and back with a 180-degree turn. Again, another area where you're going to want to be super safe going around that turn and navigate it safely. And then you'll come up and make a right-hand turn on the Highwoods Parkway. You will see the right-hand turn into transition. You will not make that turn until you've completed all of your laps. Instead, you will continue straight to go out on your next loop. The right-hand turn into transition will be reserved for your final lap. All right, you can see right here where that turn to go into transition is when you are done with your final lap. Let's move on to the run course. The course follows part of the bike course. It is an out and back on the bike course, which there will not be bikes on the run course when you're running because of the lap out rule. But there's an aid station 200 meters from the start as well as finish line on the course. Athletes will turn left around the cone at inbound turnaround to the finish line. So I'll show you that on the map when we get there in just a second. Pacing is not allowed by coaches, teammates, and friends. Juniors will make 2 laps. NTTR athletes will make 2 laps. Youth will make 1 lap. Here's that run course map. Again, I know you can't see my cursor, so I'll kind of talk you through it. You're coming out of transition the same way you did on the bike. You're going to make a right-hand turn onto Highwoods Parkway. Going to run down the Sadler, which again is a little bit of a downhill to a right-hand turn on Cox. You will continue downhill until you get to the lake, and then it will be a slight uphill until you get to your turnaround on Cox Road, where you'll make a left-hand turn and then head back the same way you came. As you come back onto Sadler, you're going to encounter that uphill because you enjoyed that downhill on the way out. Left-hand turn onto Highwoods Parkway, and this cone that I referred to is right by this flagger where you're going to turn to go into the finish. That cone, you're going to need to go around it and then continue down the finish chute from there. All right, post-race, when you get to the post-race, we'll have an area where you can receive food, drink in your finish medal. We also have food trucks and some different vendors out there if you want some additional food as well. Again, you will want to remove your bikes from transition immediately after the race, and we will be giving awards almost immediately after the race for the top 3 per race. So when I say per race, I mean top 3 junior development female, top 3 junior development male, and so on. Now it's important to realize that this is not the only briefing that you need to view. You also need to view the rules briefing that was produced by the officials for the event. You can find that briefing at this YouTube link right here. So you will want to make sure to click on that and watch that entirely. After watching both briefings, it is imperative that you sign the Google form at this link stating that you did watch both briefings to be allowed to race. This is very important. You do not want to be blindsided the morning of the race by us realizing that you haven't viewed these presentations. So make sure you do that and get that taken care of. Outside of that, I think you've got all your information to have a successful race. We wish you the absolute best luck and are excited to see you in Richmond here in a couple weeks.